Hi guys, I'm going to talk to you a little bit about the muscular and skeletal system today. So we're going over these slides, and let's see. So that we know that muscles are the organs that move the body parts. We know that if we had just bones and joints, that we would not be able to move. There are more than 600 muscles in our body, and 35 to 40% of our body mass is muscle. So when people are trying to lose weight, but they're working out to lose weight, a lot of times they look like they've lost more weight than they have because what they're actually doing is building body mass. And muscle weighs more than fat. Okay, next. Muscle is an organ that contracts, and when it contracts, it becomes shorter, or it expands and it becomes longer. So when we have this expansion and contraction, the result is that body parts move, energy is being used, and work is being done. There are two groups of muscle. We have voluntary, and with voluntary, we can control these. These include our arms, legs, hands, face. I know I love when people are at school and they're like, oh, I didn't mean to hit him. Oh, I didn't mean to trip the kid. Yeah, you do, because those are voluntary actions and you control those voluntary muscles. Involuntary, you can't control. You don't have to decide to make those muscles work. Um, that would be like the muscles around the heart. You don't have to tell your heart, okay, heartbeat, okay, diaphragm, contract or expand so I can get a breath. You don't have to say, okay, esophagus, contract and relax so the food can go down into the stomach. There are three types of muscle tissue. Skeletal muscle, it's the most numerous. It looks striped or striated. It's attached by the bones to the tendon. Now, when people work out, these striped muscles here, what happens when they're working out, like these bodybuilders and, I don't know, football players and whoever else that works out, okay, these fibrous striped muscles actually split, okay? They come apart, and then more muscle tissue fills in as they're working out, and that's what makes them have these big, huge muscles, okay? Uh, Muscle is attached to bones by tendons, and tendons are like thick bands that pull on the bone as the muscle contracts. They're voluntary and they tire easily, especially with repeated or continued action. Okay. There are three types of muscle tissue continued. We have smooth muscle. This is involuntary. It's found in the walls of the stomach, the intestine, the uterus. It contracts and relaxes slowly, and it does not have the stripes or the striations. And then we have cardiac muscle. And cardiac muscle is only found in the heart. Again, it's involuntary. It does have striations, and the average contraction rate is 60 to 70 times per minute for a heartbeat. Skeletal muscles at work. Skeletal muscles work in pairs. So it's not just this one or this one. These two muscles work together. One muscle contracts and the other relaxes. Muscles always pull. They don't ever push. Okay? The result of muscle action, muscles contract, this produces thermal energy, and it also uses chemical energy. That's why when you're running or you're working out, you get really hot. It's because of that thermal energy of the muscles contracting. And it also uses chemical energy, and that would be like your food. Thermal energy produces heat that helps keep the body temperature constant. Chemical energy is from glucose, and when the glucose is used up, the muscles are tired and need to rest. Over time, muscles become larger or smaller depending on how much work you do. Okay, so I am assuming this is not the first time this bodybuilder has lifted this much weight. Okay, so he's been practicing a lot to get all those muscles that he has developed here. The skeletal system is made up of bones in your body. It's the framework for the body, just like when you're framing a house and you have all that 2x4s and the outline of the house. The skeleton is kind of like the outline of your body, and then your body fills in or goes over the top of the framework. Each bone in your body is a living organ made of different tissues. Cells and bones take food and energy. So bone is alive. The makeup of all the bones in your body, skeletal system is made up of all the bones in your body. It's the framework of the body. There are 5 functions. You need to know these 5 functions. The framework, it gives us shape and support. Okay, that's number 1. Number 2, it protects the internal organs, and that would be like the heart, the lungs, the brain. The major muscles of the body are attached to the bones. That's number 3. Number 4, the blood cells are formed in the red marrow of some bones, and this would be your larger bones in your body. Number 5, the skeleton is a place where major quantities of calcium and phosphorus compounds are stored. So it's a framework, protects internal organs. Major muscles of the body are attached to the bone so that there can be movement. Red blood cells are formed in the bone marrow. Blood cells are formed in the red marrow of some bones. The skeletal system is where calcium, phosphorus are stored. Average adult has 206 bones. A baby has 270. Part of that has to do with the skull of the baby. You know, babies have this little soft spot right here on their head, and you have to be really careful. That is because their skull has not formed or has not fused yet. The bones in their head kind of, if they were born naturally instead of a C-section, they had to kind of scrunch together so that they come out the birth canal. And then if their head was fused, if the bones in their skull were fused, those bones could not have kind of slid over each other and moved to make it through the birth canal. Okay. Joints are any place 2 or more bones meet. Knees. This is my poor knee here. Okay. Some of you athletes know about tearing the meniscus. Okay. This is in French. I'm just telling you, okay? So your meniscus is here. And your meniscus attaches to your femur, and the meniscal ligament here attaches to the femur and the fibula, okay? Then here is your medial meniscus, here is your lateral, and what happens sometimes is this is torn. If it's torn all the way in 2, then you have to have your surgery, okay? A lot of athletes mess up their meniscus, especially if they're football players, because they get hit in the knee, and it makes their knee hyperextend, and it causes them great pain. Basically, with my knee, we have a lot of bone on bone here rubbing. In old people, that's what happens a lot of times because the stuff just kind of goes away. It just wears out. Okay. The three types of joints. We have hinge joints, which is like fingers, toes. We have a ball and socket, which is like your shoulder and your hip. We have pivot, where it can just go all around. That's like your neck. And then gliding is your wrist. Okay. And the skeletal and muscular system work together so that we can have movement. And this would be called our support system. Okay. Because they support the body. And just something for you to think about. Your favorite holiday memory. Is it some sort of food? Is it a place to go? Is it a certain gift that you get or give? Or is it an activity? Okay. Just something to think about. All right. Have a great day.